Hello and welcome to the channel. So today I want to go through a couple of things with you, particularly from a beginner's standpoint. When you're new to FreeCAD, it's easy to think you're doing something wrong. And the truth is that almost every experienced user has made the same mistakes that you're making right now. Here are 5 of the most common mistakes that beginners make and how to avoid them. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to tell you which version of FreeCAD that we're working on. I have the current download of version 1.1.1, and that's the version that I'm talking about right here. But a lot of the things we're going to talk about apply to FreeCAD throughout, or actually any CAD system, to be honest with you. So mistake number 1. People try to learn everything at once. Now look at this. This is our workbenches. There's a lot of them. And that's not all of them. This is just the ones that I have installed. Of course, you want to know all about everything that's out there, but you don't need to know everything that's out there right now. So one of the biggest mistakes beginners make is they're trying to learn all of FreeCAD at the same time. And FreeCAD really isn't one tool, it's a collection of tools. So the basics are, what we want to be able to do is create a part, right? We want to be able to create a model to start with. And what you really need for that is you're going to need part design workbench. This is what I recommend. You can go in with part, but I recommend part design. And you need to know the sketcher. If you don't know the sketcher, you're not going to be able to get there. So those are the things that you really need to focus on. And those are the things that if you learn those and you get up to speed with those, the other things are going to make much more sense and be easier for you to use. Once you're comfortable creating solid models, you can move on to assemblies, to drawings, to spreadsheets, and the more advanced workbenches. But what you got to do is you got to master those fundamentals. So if you stick to part design and sketcher, and I'll tell you, I've been using FreeCAD a long time, and 99.9% of the stuff I do is in part design and sketcher. Those are the 2 things. If you learn those well, you'll be able to use the rest of FreeCAD. The next mistake that people make is they start a model without a plan. So what they do is they come up with, hey, I want to do this, but I'm just going to go in and start modeling. That's not always the best way to do it. So many beginners have jumped straight into drawing geometry without thinking about how the model should be built. And what I mean by that is what dimensions might change, what should drive the design, and which sketch should be the master sketch, or which sketch is the thing that you're going to drive from. Now, the easiest model to edit tomorrow is usually the one that you planned out today. So if you come up with a good plan on how you're going to do it, that's probably the best way to do it. Now, I have a manufacturing background. I did my apprenticeship as a tool maker, so I used to make parts. And so when I'm modeling, I'm sort of considering how would you make this thing. And the reason I'm doing that is because that usually leads you down a path of this can be built and this can be maintained. Now, of course, with 3D printing, there's a lot of things you can print that you might not be able to make. And so there are some different things you can think about, and there are some things you can do, bridging and supports and all those kinds of things allow you to do certain things in 3D printing that you probably wouldn't be able to do with regular machining. However, if you just imagine, how am I making this part? How do I get to where I want to get to? That can keep you on the right track. So the other mistake that people make is they think there's only one right way to do it. And if they don't do it that exact way, that's wrong. Now, what we say in England is there's always more than one way to skin a cat. So basically it means you can get to the same result multiple different ways. And none are necessarily better than others or more right than others. There can be 2 ways to get to the same end, and they're both valid. So don't feel like, oh, I didn't know how to do it that way, or I should redo it that way because that's better. Sometimes if you take multiple times to get to where you want to, you can end up with a better result. And you can always go back and remodel something if you feel like you found a better way to do it. Now, one thing I have noticed online, there's a lot of people doing speed modeling. And speed modeling is great. I mean, the fact that people can make models that fast, impressive. However, that's not really the end goal here. So I spend more of my time in the design than in the modeling. So I spend more time coming up with what the design is going to look like than actually modeling that design. So I'm not worried about, can I model this in 15 seconds? I'm more worried about, am I going to be able to come up with something that I can use that will suit its purpose. And so there's more than one way to get there. There's always more than one way to get there. A lot of times you might not think of using a revolve where you could use a revolve, or you might think about using a revolve where you could have used something, just a solid extrusion. So there's lots of different ways of doing things, lots of different ways to get there. There are none that are more right than others. As long as it's a valid way and you end up with a good model, it's not an issue. Now, I do see that in the programming world too, is a lot of programmers are a little bit snobby about, oh, your code's not as extensible as my code and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but if it does the job, then we're halfway there. And to be honest with you, if I'm doing a 3D model, my print is what I care about. It's not, I don't really care how I got to that model. Now, of course, if it's something like my electronics enclosure, I want it to be something that is parametric, that I can change the size of it, and I can make a box of any size that I want. Now, that's important, and that's part of the design feature. But it doesn't really make a difference on how it prints. I could have done a box that you can't change the size, but it's the size I want, and printed that and still been fine. So hopefully those things will help to keep you in the right direction when you're creating new models. And then the other thing that people do is filleting and chamfers. People will try and put on a fillet or a chamfer that's too big, especially if that fillet goes the whole way across the face. And sometimes you can get away with just making that fillet just a tiny bit smaller. So, for instance, if I have a 10 mil face and I try and put a 10 mil fillet on it, it may fail. But if I make it a 9.9 fillet, it will probably work. So a lot of beginners think FreeCAD is broken when a fillet fails. Usually the geometry simply doesn't allow the radius you're asking for. So bear that in mind, that small adjustments can help things to work. And just because the fillet box accepts a number doesn't mean the geometry does. So you got to think about the geometry when you're doing fillets. And then finally, sketching on the first face that you see. So if you're going to create a sketch, you want to think about where it is and what plane it's on, and not necessarily just dump it on a face. And the reason for that is our friend, the topological naming problem, although it's been vastly improved, still rears its ugly head sometimes. And what that means is if you put something on a face and then for some reason that face's reference changes, your whole model's going to break. So just because you can sketch on a face doesn't mean you should. So you got to think about the stability and how you want this model to work. So a lot of people ask me, why do you go and create a plane, or why are you doing that sketch on a plane? It's mostly because I want my model to be robust, and I'm not looking to try and do it in 15 seconds. I'm looking to do it in a way that works and lasts. And so that's what I'm doing. If you're making any of these mistakes now, don't worry. Every experienced FreeCAD user has made them. The good news is that once you recognize them, your models become easier to build, easier to modify, and a lot less frustrating. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know. You can drop a comment below and let me know what FreeCAD mistakes you learned the hard way, stuff that you've done because I'd like to build on this and help people to be able to use FreeCAD. I think FreeCAD is a fantastic piece of software, and you can create some great things in it, but it can be frustrating and the learning curve is steep. So as far as future videos are concerned, let me know your thoughts, what you'd like to see, and I will be happy to make videos on those topics. So thanks again for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, you can join us on Patreon. You can join us here, become a member on YouTube. You can just subscribe. That's completely free. You can go on coffee.com and drop us a coffee. Happy for that. Whatever you want to do. You don't have to spend money. If you just want to support us, you can just subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it, and I'll look forward to making the next one.